What are the key legal issues in a departing employee lawsuit? I'm Zach Wolf. I'm a Texas trial lawyer, and I often deal with that kind of lawsuit. What do I mean by a departing employee lawsuit? I'm talking about the situation where an employee or executive leaves a company and goes somewhere else and starts to compete. So what are the big issues in that type of case? Well, the first one is preservation of ESI. Marker, please. Thank you. ESI stands for electronically stored information. So here we're talking about preservation of evidence. So if you're the company that the employee has left, you want to make sure you get that employee's laptop, smartphone, tablet, whatever it is, and preserve the emails and other electronically stored information that could be relevant to all the other issues in your lawsuit. The second big issue is whether the employee has an enforceable non-compete with the first employer. I've got a video on this very subject you can watch. It's called, Is My Texas Non-Compete Enforceable? So go check that out. But obviously, whether there is an enforceable non-compete is going to be a big issue. The third issue is a related one, and that's the question of tortious interference. In a departing employee case, you really have three parties to the case, typically. You've got the first employer, the employee who left the first employer, and then you've got the second employer. Now, often the first employer, if there's a non-compete, it will sue the second employer and claim that the second employer has tortiously interfered with the employee's non-compete. The idea is that the second employer has caused the employee to breach his non-compete. The big issue with tortious interference is usually whether the second employer has a good faith reason for believing that the non-compete is unenforceable, even if that good faith reason turns out to be mistaken. The fourth big issue in a departing employee case is the question of fiduciary duty. At my blog, 5 Minute Law, I wrote about this issue and I called it Fiduciary Duty Light. What I meant by that is that an employee doesn't have the same kind of fiduciary duty to an employer that, let's say, a lawyer owes to a client. But Texas courts do say that an employee has a sort of limited version of a fiduciary duty. That duty includes a duty not to use the employer's confidential information to compete with the employer. That's really the key part of fiduciary duty. And keep in mind, this applies even if the employee never signed a confidentiality agreement. The last big issue in a departing employee case is the issue of trade secrets. Texas has the Uniform Trade Secret Act. There is now the Federal Defend Trade Secrets Act. So these acts impose legal duties on employees not to use trade secrets against the employer. Often the big issue with trade secrets is customer lists. A customer list can be a trade secret under both Texas law and federal law. And most salespeople have some kind of customer list, even if it's just a list of names and phone numbers and email addresses on a smartphone. So in most departing employee cases, you're going to have some issue about trade secrets. So those are the key issues in a departing employee case. You can go to my blog, 5minutelaw.com, and read a lot about all of these issues. Thank you for joining us.